don't have a country here. We are useless. If it was for us, I would say, let's destroy this country. Watch the bomoka yote. But for our children and grandchildren. And that's why I support them. Let them teach us a lesson. Because we are jokers.
We've been telling young people, go to school, get educated, then you'll get a good job, you'll be empowered. But in most of our countries, the people who are living the best lives have no education. The people who are driving the best cars, no education. We have political cadres now occupying significant positions in government because they are loyal. Some of them are fantastically incompetent, but they are wonderful people. Unfortunately, wonderfulness does not cure the underdevelopment challenge. We have equated having things with being, so that those who have things are considered more human beings.
There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
Sisi vile vile sio watu ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimfuata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu, wewe umetukosea.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk Open Forum Political Discussion Show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is taking place in our country, most of it very disappointing, and not in any way looking at the plight of the masses that so much need intervention in their day-to-day life. Well, among what's happening is new discoveries by the Auditor General on how Kenya has been thriving on budgeted graft for the past 3 years of budget, meaning that whatever that we are losing to graft is not an accident. It is premeditated. Somebody sits down and organizes. Then one fertile place for this budgeted corruption is what we are calling external debt. Okay, there is a debt that we pretend to be paying when that payment actually ends up into some VVIP people within the government who enjoys free money from the sweat of Kenyans, and all of it is well systematically placed so that nothing goes wrong in terms of that graft being addressed first. Remember, our policy on finance as Kenya, and I believe maybe other jurisdictions, is that on our budget, the first priority is to pay debt. So with that as a premise, you can agree with me that we prioritize corruption first before anything else, since that external debt is top priority on the payment list of what to do this month or what to do today. Well, this is happening. Our country is crippling with so much at play as the masses cry out on how to keep afloat. The cost of living rising, inflation, there you go. There is a new development, and that is cybercrime. Okay, 24 of Kenyans have been arrested for this particular vice of cybercrime. We'll be looking at the same and see what happens. The 24 are arrested for cybercrime. 24 of our banks are crippling with closure because the capital required to keep them afloat, it is not coming forth in the required time. Now, all this is happening while William Ruto and team are out there on top of cars and, of course, on top of vehicles, convincing Kenyans that they are working so hard and that they have everything under control and that we should trust them. Now, this is very serious, that they are convincing us to believe that they are working so hard and that they have everything under control when it's obviously nothing is holding. 24 banks considering to close. I mean, there is, come on. Something is wrong with this country and we all need to come to terms with the same and begin to address it urgently. William Ruto and team, as it has been reported, he has never reported to Harambee House. As the president of the Republic of Kenya, he prefers to work from State House. And the work he does in State House is meet people, tour. I mean, meet this group of people, meet cabinet, meet this, meet that. When will William Ruto report in the Harambee House and work for Kenyans because he is in a public office? Something is wrong and we must fix it. I invite your input as we sum up the stories we will be covering today. The Adani deal has now been pronounced over by the High Court of Kenya, that no more government deals between the Kenyan government and the Adani group of companies. Now that means that whatever pronouncement that William Ruto made, of course, it was not holding water until it is, of course, followed up by required steps. And so the court pronouncing itself on it, I believe, is one of the grounds upon which Kenyans can now rest, understanding that this matter, it is not going to go like it was conceived by the ill-twisted mind of corrupt few vices within our country who would want to swindle the country of its wealth and its resources for personal gain. Very sad, but true. Well, I appreciate everybody who is joining us from wherever you are. Thank you. Those joining us on TikTok, please, let's share the live with as many as we can so that they can join and be part of the great conversation. This is Sound Candid Talk, where Kenyans meet and talk their issues in their own language, in their own words. I call upon you to be on the forefront to invite somebody and share the link widely. We are live on Sound Candid Talk YouTube channel, Sound Candid Talk Live YouTube channel, Sound Candid Talk Facebook page, and Sound Candid Talk TikTok. So tafadhali naomba tumakinike tunapoanza kipindi kwa fujo tu. Samahani kuanza kuchelewa. Tumekuwa na tatizo katika studio ambayo inasumbua sana, na kuna watu tunawashuku ambao wanatekeleza unyama huo, sababu wasijua wenyewe. Kwangu mimi sina uhasama na mtu yeyote. Kama wataka haki kwa Wakenya, tutakuwa pamoja. Lakini kama unataka kuhujumu Wakenya kwa sababu yako binafsi, mimi hapo sipo. Kwangu mimi naomba tu tuheshimiane, tutekeleze wajibu wetu ipasavyo. Lakini nashukuru wote ambao mmetuamini, mmetufuata na mmeelimika kwa njia moja au nyingine na mkatusupport kukuja this far that we have come. We really appreciate each one of you and look forward to engaging further. Thank you so much. As we begin the show, I salute everyone who is joining from wherever you are. Thank you so much. as we get down to business. William Adilo, thank you for being here. M&A, welcome to the show. Justin Gichohi, karibu kwa show. Asante sana kwa kuwai. Esther Stoll, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Please make sure that you call in as many as you can to be part of the conversation. We are sorry for beginning late. It's the hiccups that we are suffering when we are set to start the show. But I believe we have taken that under control, and therefore we'll have everything going according to the schedule. Thank you so much. Let's start with that main story. And if you're coming to the studio, the link to use is already in the comment section. Click on it, allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio, and then you will be in this space for us to get talking. Our business and our duty is to see to it that the liberties we have, the constitutional provisions for each and every Kenyan is our drive. And with the start, we are going to get everything working in harmony, because we all subscribe to the same rule of law and to the same guidance. But when there are other issues arising, then you know that we are not doing well. So let's look into this issue of budgeted corruption. Now, this is very sad that we have people in authority who are abusing that authority and have turned our country into a scene of crime, that our budget is crime, our education is crime, our healthcare is a scene of crime. I mean, why are we turning into a country of criminals, and that crime is being committed by very people that we are supposed to be protecting us from all those vices? And then, of course, this other story of people choosing crime over dealing right, a very serious matter that I would want us to address ourselves to the same. So let's start with the main story: Treasury and being questioned about graft and all manner of claims and counterclaims of the same. Let's hear this out even as we start the show. Karibu kila moja, wale mnaingia studio tafadhali.
The National Treasury was today put to task over anomalies of over 160 billion shillings external debt repayment for the past 3 financial years. The Auditor General raised a red flag over the repayment with concerns of budgeted corruption. As our very own Emmanuel Toe now reports, the Auditor General's report also reported or pointed out to possible plunder and wastage of public resources, exposed lack of documentation for some of the projects, and what they termed as corruption in the first place. Take a listen.
The Auditor General Nancy Gathungu, in the special audit report on the debt servicing of external loans in Kenya for the past 3 financial years, raised pertinent questions on expenditure amounting to 161 billion shillings in unclear debt repayment. The Auditor General, disclosing to the National Assembly Public Debt and Privatization Committee of the National Treasury's variance in budgeted, approved and actual debt services for the financial years 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, and 2022 to 2023, saying the variances went above the 5% allowed by the law, hitting 10% of the amounts approved. In the financial year 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022, the repayments were less than the control of budget approved amounts by 1.4 billion shillings and a staggering 83.3 billion shillings respectively, as the National Treasury underpaid on the amount allocated by the control of budget. However, in the preceding financial year, the National Treasury went over and beyond the approved amount by a whopping 77 billion shillings.
This could be a mischief for corruption. If your budget is, in fact, the PRM Act is very clear. You don't procure services and goods beyond your budget.
Our position is that these variances are high, and if they are doing the budgeting process, it should be obtained on the fact that they are also forecasting accurately, so that the variances are not as big as we are seeing there, Chair.
The Treasury saying the fluctuations were caused by the exchange rates of the Kenyan shilling against other currencies.
Have you satisfied yourself that on that date was how much was approved, and then there was that huge depreciation, again 77 billion out of 311 billion is a huge percentage.
And even so, the Auditor General says she could not get all the required documents to put the borrowed monies to specific projects. The audit revealed that out of the 32 sampled project loans, only 18 projects had undergone feasibility studies to ascertain their need. At the same time, the audit established that 22 out of the 32 sampled project loans did not have documentations or evidence to support public participation, leading to projects which did not have the public's input. A majority of the project loans also did not have approvals, exposing the projects to the risk of double financing and incurrence of costs outside the budget. The audit also revealed that only 5 out of the 32 project loans had legal opinions from the Attorney General. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Mambo ni kama hayo, jinsi tunavyofanya kazi hapa Kenya, inatisha. Na haya masuala yote yanatokana na watu wa kalamu na karatasi. Huku tukifukuzana na vijana wachache kule kijijini kwa wizi wa kuku, wizi wa ng'ombe, watu wanachukua mabilioni kutumia kalamu tu na karatasi. Yaani wanajilimbikizia mali visivyofaa. Na wanahalalisha kupitia bajeti yetu, inaenda mpaka bunge inapitishwa, alafu inaishia kwa mifuko za watu badala ya kujenga nchi na kuhakikisha kwamba tunasonga mbele kama taifa. Na hili ni swala nyeti sana ambalo naomba tuanze kujihoji na tuanze kufikiria nchi hii tunataka iwe vipi. Na hili swali tunapaswa kuliweka kwa viongozi na wote ambao wako na ile nia ya kuwania uongozi kwa njia moja au nyingine. Does public service means access to public coffers for personal gain? Do you get into politics so that you get rich, or you get into politics so that you can serve the people? What have we turned into as a people and as a society? How comfortable are you when you are indeed living in a house that is built by the money that was supposed to buy the cancer wherever equipment, the money that was meant to buy medicine for the sick Kenyans, the money that was meant to build a hospital to take care of Kenyans? That is the one you have built a mansion with. That's the one you're mortgaging your house in Dubai and other places. And you still have got guards to enter that house and sleep and still get sleep. Are we really still human, or we have gone all the way and, depreciated to the level of animal? Because this is not normal. And I don't care who wants to normalize it. It is not normal. What makes you so happy about getting money that belongs to the public, that is meant to help the country move forward? You make it personal and you are happy about it. I mean, who else enjoys the pain and the suffering of the people but Satan, the devil? Are we turned into devils? Have we now become evil spirits as a country? What is this about graft? What is this about corruption that we can't seem to lay a grip on, that we are so much devoted to the same, that no matter what is said, no matter what is put forth, we will keep doing it the way we like it for our personal gain? It is terrible. And now there are emerging revelations about the Haiti mission that is also tied to this, which I also want to call you into, because it's something else altogether. It's something else altogether. And these claims put forth by Okiya Omtata. Okiya Omtata, I'm sure you know that he launched out his committee to prospect for his running for president in 2027. Now, this is what Okiya Omtata has put. I think this is on his X handle. And he says something. He says the Haiti mission was another money-making scheme for Kasongo and his cronies. You know what that means. Okay, he say he hoped to invest taxpayers' money there and claim refunds from the UN. Now the UN says it will not fund the mission. Kenyans, now you must put Kasongo to task. He must pay back the taxpayers' money injected in the mission. Don't let Kasongo get away with it. Now, this is what we are talking about, that somebody enjoys, misuse of public funds to a level whereby it doesn't matter to him what he does. He has to make the money, and the money has to be made, and therefore, whatever means, he said the end justifies the means. It appears this is the order of the day. So I just wanted to display that so that you all get it clear that kuna mtu anacheza hapa na anacheza na mali ya umma. So that is it. Sorry, not that one. Let's get the right one. Right, here we go. The Okiya Omtata one, then the other one will also share with us even as we continue with the what is availed. Now, naomba tafadhali karibisha mtu alafu wale tunaingia studio sijui mmeenda wapi. Naomba wai mapema tukazungumze masuala haya kwa kina. Okay, there we go. The Haiti mission. Now, I just want to remind us, because some of us are not, activated or rather turned on by history, but the history of yesterday is too close for you to forget. Remember the spirited up and the spirited fight that went into our Kenyan police going to Haiti. It was, first of all, pronounced unconstitutional by the courts. The courts gave proposals on what needs to be done so that the police can comfortably and within the framework of the law go to Haiti. What happened? The Ruto administration went to Parliament, grafted and adjusted the law to make provision for this police to go. So it was not something that they woke up in the morning and say, we are going, and they went. Even the law that made that possible was not ready. But what happened? We put in effort to make that law become ready so that it can lawfully get our soldiers go to Haiti. Now, see what's coming from Haiti. Haiti was another cash cow for some people. That is, use taxpayers to get the people there, but make claims from UN. But when the claims come, they end up into the mysterious pocket where everything that is called external debt ends up. And that's why I support Jimmy Wanjiki and team that are talking about we must audit the debt, and we must audit the debt in relation to the projects that those particular loans were taken for. So if we borrowed loan for express highway, we need to see express highway. If we borrowed loan for Nairobi Mombasa highway to be expanded, we want to see that expansion. But if the money was borrowed and it went into somebody's pocket, that person should be held liable and should be now made to pay the debt, because the Kenyan people did not benefit from the money. There is no way the Kenyan people should be, pressed or forced and burdened to carry a debt that they did not, benefit from. And so this is a very serious conversation that we all must address, we all must look into deliberately, without pretense, and without all manner of us thinking that it will just go away. It is not going away. We have institutionalized corruption. Corruption in Kenya is no longer a vice. It's no longer a disease. It is now turned into a norm. It is the way things are done. Now, if there is any phrase that angers me most, it is that phrase. It is the way things are done. Somebody say you can't get your child to the university without bribing because it is the way things are done. You can't be hired by TSC except you bribe because that's the way things are done. You can't get your ID, you can't get your passport without bribing because that is the way things are done. Are we turning into a country of that's the way things are done, in the sense that make everybody be corrupt alongside you simply because you have refused to follow the law and you have refused to use the public office for public service? What's going on with our country? And so let's look at this extensively and be able to, not play games anymore, but confront maneno jinsi yalivyo. Naomba mchango wako mahala popote ulipo, tafadhali makinika kusema yote ili ukasikike. Hapa tunahakikisha kwamba mambo yanakwenda kulingana na mahesabu. Well, let's continue engaging. Okay. Nani huyu? Kasare anasema the seniors have never arrested. Okay. That is why corruption is too high. Okay, thank you. Yes, really corruption, and this not even cyber corruption, high-tech corruption of really money. Forget about this one of 50 bob along the road and the police being settled here and there. We're talking about high-tech corruption of billions. It's rewarding. In fact, the reason why corruption thrives in Kenya is because it is rewarding. Okay, it's profitable. You get away with it, you get settled. Look at the way they are dealing with this former Migori governor. What is his name? I forget his name. Now, he's found he used the county money to build for himself mansions of billions, and then he goes for what they're calling out-of-court settlement. The Anti-Corruption Commission gives him the leeway. They now share the properties, which ones they leave for him and which one are taken over by the government. And so as long as corruption is rewarding, as long as it's called opado, yes, as long as corruption is rewarding and the people are getting away with corruption, corruption cannot be handled. Now, my question to you as a Kenyan is this the country you want? Is this how you want us to go about this? Or we should kind of make corruption painful, make corruption, and not rewarding, so that people can keep away from the same. And this, I believe, is the reason why now our young people are resorting to cybercrime, okay? They can swindle anybody. If the government is swindling from Kenyans and the government is a government of wash. Now, what stops the young people from, arising to the occasion and doing the undoable? Let's just get that story as I get my camera working again. We still have got issues, but I think that's battery issue. We'll sort that out. So let me get us to listen to this, and then we can go to the other story about, arrest.
24 Kenyans
Graft
are among over 1,000 suspects who have been arrested in connection with the theft of more than 24 billion shillings in online fraud. Now, according to a report by Interpol, the Kenyan suspects allegedly stole 1.1 billion shillings after altering banking systems security protocol. Now, in the 2024 Africa Cyber Threat Assessment Report, prepared in conjunction with Afripol, ransomware, business email compromise, digital extortion and online scams were identified as some of the notorious ways used to steal from more than 35,000 victims worldwide. Let's get more from our very own Njoroge Gatete.
The ghost of online fraud in the country seems far from over if a report by Interpol and Afripol on cyber threat assessment is anything to go by. 24 Kenyans have made it to the list of online fraudsters in the continent after stealing over 1.1 billion shillings. In the report, the 24 were allegedly involved in an online credit card fraud where they stole funds after altering the banking system's security protocol. The funds were redistributed via SWIFT to companies in the United Arab Emirates, Nigeria and China. It was later diverted to digital asset institutions, offering trading and financial services regulated in multiple jurisdictions. Interpol has stated that the credit card fraud is on an industrial scale not just in Kenya but across Africa. In Senegal, 8 people, including 5 Chinese nationals, were arrested after they allegedly stole over 700 million shillings from 1,811 victims in an online Ponzi scheme. The suspects were also found with over 900 SIM cards, phones, laptops, and copies of victims' ID cards. A similar arrest was made in Nigeria, where one person was arrested after conning people over 38 million shillings in an online investment scam. Operation Serengeti, conducted between September 2nd and October 31st, targeted criminals behind ransomware, business email compromise, digital extortion, and online scams, which have been identified as prominent threats in the continent. During the operation, 1,006 suspects were arrested for allegedly scamming 35,000 victims, over 24 billion shillings worldwide. Over 134,000 infrastructures and networks were dismantled during the joint operation. Afripol, which brings together police officers from African Union member states, has called on concerted effort to tackle emerging threats like AI-driven malware and advanced attack techniques. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Mambo ni kama hayo. Tunaongoza tu, sio kwa mbio, sio kwa riadha, bali sasa tumeanza kuongoza kwa ufisadi. Na sio ufisadi wa kawaida. Sasa tumeingia inaitwa cybercrime, yani wizi wa kimabavu ama wizi wa kutumia kalamu na karatasi. 24 of Kenyans have made it to that list of arrested people who are stealing money from unsuspecting people worldwide. What are we up to as a nation? How far? I mean, how far is too far? Isn't this becoming something else altogether? Do we care about what the name of our country is turning into and how our international image is being looked at? I mean, uzalendo uko wapi? Yani ile hali ya kuwewe kujibeba kama Mkenya na kuheshimu kwa Mkenya, mfano, I mean, kwa kiwango ambacho hutahusika katika maovu kwa sababu hilo litapatia nchi yako jina baya. Na kinacho tatanisha hapa ni kwamba wakubwa wa nchi wanaongoza nchi, ndio wanaongoza katika haya mambo ya ufisadi, wanaongoza katika haya mambo ya wizi wa mali ya umma. So inakuwa tena sasa hawa watu wa chini wanaona basi kama mkubwa anafanya hivyo, mbona sisi tusifanye? Okay, kama wanasiasa wanaiba na wanaiba wazi wazi, basi mbona na sisi jiunge na huo mkondo. Now, I know that everybody has an excuse for what they are doing or what they are, resisting to do. But I would want us to think more seriously about this in the sense that ni mfano upi huu tunaweka kwa watoto wetu. Aliwaambia hapa story ya mtu mmoja aliuliza mpwae kwamba ukiwa mtu mkubwa unataka kuwa nini? Unajua ile tulikuwa tukisoma unasema, when I grow up I want to be a policeman, when I grow up I want to be a pilot, when I grow up I want to be a doctor. But this guy was asked, when you grow up, what would you want to become? And the small boy said, after thinking for a while, he said, Uncle, when I grow up, I want to become a cartel. And everybody was shocked. So they asked the small boy, why cartel? He said, because I see on television, all the money is with the cartels. And so I want to become a cartel because that's where all the money is. Now, that's food for thought. Food for thought in the sense that kama watoto wetu wanataka kufanyika cartel, na cartel ndio inabeba hela yote. So ni vipi tutawarekebisha, ni vipi tutawarudia kama sisi watu wazima, sisi ndio tunaongoza kwa kupatia mfano kwamba ili ufanikiwe katika maisha, sio ufanye kazi kwa bidii, sio usome kwa bidii, sio lazima usome, okay? Unahitaji tu kuwa engineer bila kusoma, unahitaji kuwa professor bila kwenda shule, unahitaji kuwa tu, street smart. You don't need this other, right ways of dealing. No, this attitude is something that I would want us to address ourselves to the same. Are we in this to see to it that we have now given up on the right way of doing things and all we want is to do them the wrong way? Is that the choice we have made? Is that the aspiration and the way we want things done? Or how do we go from here? 24 people having stolen over 1 billion Kenya shillings. What is going on? And we are all still breathing in and out. And it looks like we are even finding justification for it because tunasema kwamba si wakubwa pia wanaiba, so tufanyeje? Sisi pia tukipata kama hujaweka kitu yako vizuri tutakuwekea vizuri. Haya, naomba maoni yako. Asante sana kwa wote mnaojiunga nasi. Tafadhali karibisha mtu, and kumbuka kuna poll question ambalo unapaswa kujibu kwa Sound Candy Talk na Sound Candy Talk Live. Usisahau kuhusika na kujibu hilo swali ambalo tunauliza kama serikali inafanya vya kutosha kushughulikia masuala haya ya budget corruption, haya cybercrime na haya masuala mengine ya finance instability within the country. Is it doing enough? We need your response on the same so that we can all be on the same page on these issues. And so let us just spell it out. Every time you are a beneficiary of graft, understand that you are the cause of the deaths in all our public hospitals. You are the cause of lack of medicine in all our public hospitals. You are the cause of deaths of our cancer patients, of our dialysis patients. You are the reason why this country is not moving forward, because of your greed and because of your twisted, corrupt mentality. Let us get back to our senses and believe in hard work and believe in right dealing and believe in, I don't have to be a thief to be rich. I don't have to be a robber to be rich. I don't have to take advantage of anybody to make anything. I can still make it the right way. And my advice to the young people who follow this program, Please don't be sucked into this because you are destroying your life. The moment it is stamped on you, you are in cybercrime. I don't know which visa you will get from where. I don't know what kind of life you're going to lead. What I'm telling you is that keep away from graft, keep away from swindling people, keep away from taking advantage of anyone, because it will eventually affect you. Don't follow the elders into error. Don't follow the leaders into error. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And life is built and made profitable by choices. And so when it comes to corruption, you will always have a choice. When it comes to corrupting yourself, you will always have a choice. I encourage you to choose the right thing. We need more than ever people who stand for what is right, people who fight for what is right, people who seek what is right. Our country is not looking good when it is given to corruption, sponsoring corruption, protecting corruption, and all of it at the expense of the welfare of the masses. It is sad that the same people that are supposed to address our sicknesses are the ones making us sick. The people that are supposed to address our insecurities, they're the ones contributing to our insecurity. I would say that the majority of what we are suffering in this country is traceable to some corruption somewhere. It is traceable to some corruption somewhere. We have had cases of terrorism attacks within the country, and you will see, if you trace those matters properly, they are traceable to some corruption somewhere. Some policeman was paid somewhere. Now, I will remind you, and like I said, some of us don't like history, but I will remind you, okay? I will remind you, remember the man who was brought that he's behind the killings of the bodies that were found in the quarry in wherever pipeline? What happened? Now, I just want you to think with me, okay? What happened? This man is hurriedly declared serial killer, taken by the DCI for PR purposes, is put in a police station, and then when it was time for him to go, he left. Okay, he left, and all the Kenyan people did, the Kenyan police did, is to tape the police station and call it a crime scene. How did he leave the police custody when he's being, accused of such grave matters of killing people, dismembering them, and throwing them in the quarry? Now, it is in prison. He's not in prison. He's in police custody. Then one morning, he wakes up, opens the gate, and walks away, and they cannot trace the person. And you tell me that is normal? It is not. And so as Kenyans, how are we going from here forward? Probably some of you are finding the subject not, a little bit boring or very boring, but I think it's important for us to think seriously on this. Tell us about your corruption experience. Okay, when you came to renew your passport, what happened? When you came to replace your ID, what happened? Now, it's easier to say those are the corrupt people. Those people are the corrupt ones. Can we trace that corruption to our houses, to our homes, and to our own dealing? Now, if we all succumb to that, will we have any country remaining for us to fight for? Utuambie. Thank you, everybody. Ubuntu hapa anasema no wonder Ruto demands. Okay, here we go. He says no wonder Ruto demands a phone IME, wherever IMEI serial number when one checks at the airport. Now, these are some of the hurried laws that don't make sense, that you rush into parliament, get the parliament to pass things that don't make sense, and then you only end up with a rotten egg in your face. But more than that, I just want us to seriously consider this, okay? Why would you want to get personal details from a person if you don't intend to steal from them? So have we legalized corruption? Is corruption part of, somebody said, is the is the fifth arm of government? Is it the fifth or the fourth arm of government? Let us know. Thank you so much, Nani Huyu, Justin Gishohi, and Asema, do you believe talking will ever stop corruption or harsher consequences? Interesting question. Well, talking has its place. That is sensitizing people and getting people informed. So that is one way. But the really cure to corruption, it is everybody saying no to corruption. Everybody saying no to corruption means you and me, because if you are not participant, this will not continue. Then, of course, now the authorities, that's where I appreciate that aspect of harsher punishment. Harsher punishment. Harsher punishment, if I was in power and wanted to end corruption in this country, is just make everybody who has been a participant in corruption suffer the loss of all things. Yes, suffer the loss of all things. Is the Apostle Paul in the Bible who says, I've suffered the loss of all things for the excellence of the knowledge of Christ Jesus, my Lord. I count but all things as done. Now, that is it, suffering the loss of all things. That means you stole 100 million, we will come and carry all your estate. We leave you in abject poverty. Now, when corruption begins to be thorough to that level that somebody steals something small, but what is taken back from him is huge, not this commensurate of payment of Opado going to agree with Okinde on how they will settle the deal, and then that is not it. If we are going to end corruption in this country, corruption has to be punishable, and harshly for that matter. Harsh to a level whereby somebody is suffer, he will go to the grave remembering and warning his children and his great-grandchildren never to partake in corruption. But as long as corruption is making rich, corruption is making powerful, corruption is rigging one in office, corruption is making one president, corruption is making one governor, corruption is making another senator, corruption is making another one a member of parliament. Corruption is good if it is working for them. And so until we prescribe a harsher punishment for corruption, and of course that harsher punishment being dire, that it leaves somebody useless, it leaves somebody fitless, I mean, with nothing to hold on. If that law is put in that way and corruption begins to be punished to that level, everybody will run away from corruption. I'll just give you an example. Those of you remember Kibaki's time. Okay, Kibaki's time, there was this law, of course, it was part of our old constitution, that was passed, that if you are mentioned in corruption, okay, the moment you get mentioned in corruption as a public officer, you step down immediately, and you immediately begin to receive half salary as your case is being heard. And when corruption is confirmed, you get dismissed. Those were some of the measures that helped the Kibaki administration to, kind of help recover the economy, because the corruption was not full speed. Why? People were afraid. Now, this was, cross-cutting. And I advocate for such, okay, that you are mentioned, not that you are guilty, not that you've been, the moment you are mentioned in corruption, you step down and you begin to receive half salary if you're a public servant. And as we confirm, then you get dismissed. Now, these are some of the things that we are throwing away, and that is why people are jumping around and are proud to come on TV and tell you, I have a wristwatch of 19 million, a belt of 15 million, and all this. They are bragging about money they did not sweat for, money they did not work for, money that just found them through dubious means. Now, as long as corruption is rewarding, corruption will not go. But when corruption becomes painful, when corruption becomes harshly punished, it will die a natural death. And so all the people in authority, Okinde included, to end corruption is let there be consequences for participating and, of course, abating corruption. Thank you, everyone who is participating on the comment section. Sarah says, to get a medical admission, you pay 100K. That is why the poor family couldn't get admission. This was where are you giving a story or something? More religious a country is, the poorer and more corrupt it is. Based on what Bwana Justin, I don't necessarily believe that, although there could be some sense into the same. Religion is supposed to make people upright. Religion is supposed to make people right dealers. Anyone who is practicing religion and mixing it with corruption and mixing it with all manner of evil vices, then you know he's not subscribing to true religion, because true religion has something to do with bettering your character and bettering your behavior, making you a more accountable and right dealer. And so it is not safe to say that the more religious a country is, the more corrupt the country becomes, although people are taking advantage of corruption and, of course, camouflaging and hiding behind church, hiding behind spirituality, hiding behind Bwana Asifiwe to still cover up their corruption. So it is not necessarily Christianity that is giving them corruption or a religion that is giving them corruption. They are already corrupt. They are only using religion as a shield. They are using church as a hideout. But that doesn't exempt or rather hinder the government from addressing these issues. Okay, it doesn't in any way. Issues corruption. I believe we have sufficient laws that can get anybody pay for corruption. We are always looking for making new laws, and those new laws make the old laws not work. What we need is to act on everything called corruption. And when it comes to talking about Kisho's issue on religion, we kind of begin to pretend that we don't know how to prosecute a corrupt religious leader or a corrupt pastor, a corrupt swindler. That is hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy. That is looking the other side. That's all I can say. Because churches are registered as society, and any law that's applicable to any society, and society include political parties and all other societies. Now, if the church is under that society, then that society act is the one supposed to be used in ensuring that everybody adheres to the provision of the Constitution. So you don't invoke spirituality to cover yourself for your corrupt dealings in the name that you're being persecuted or your church is being attacked. No. If somebody commits a crime, let him not be treated special that he's a spiritual leader or he's a church leader, things like that. Let the law be followed to the letter, and let the corruption that has taken place be punishable, and wherever it should also be geared towards what? Recovering whatever that has been lost. And so I really believe that if the government stands up and does what they should do, like I cited what Kibaki did, that had a way of controlling corruption, because the moment you get mentioned, you are losing your job, getting half salary, and as the case is being weighted. And so if you love your job and you want to, work full length, you will not partake in corruption, because the moment you're mentioned, your job is at risk. I appreciate everybody. Please, let's keep going. It is almost an hour into the show. I don't know where the people are for participating into the discussion. Probably the topic is boring, but I think we can't pretend about this anymore. We have to say what we must say. So whatever the case, we will proceed into the next story as we analyze and put everything in their proper perspective. Let us do what we must do to help the country recover. Tayanik's picture says it's only in Kenya that corruption is used to fight corruption. Sad but true. I can't deny it. It is only in Kenya that corruption is used to fight corruption. That is where the dilemma lies. That's where the dilemma lies. And we've been on this platform talking all through, okay? If I can steal to become a member of parliament, I can steal to become president, I can steal to become governor, I can steal to become senator. What do you expect me to do after I am in the office by stealing? Munipe jibu, okay? I stole myself into presidency. How do you plan to stop me from stealing? Are we still here? Now, it's important that we look at this keenly, because what has gone wrong with this country is that certain people are allowed to steal and enjoy state protection when they have stolen, okay? But others are supposed to be followed, thrown to industrial area, taken from one mistreatment to another because of chicken, because of small things. If this country will recover from where it has sunk to, let every stealing be punishable, including stealing elections, including, rigging elections, including all manner of bribes to bribe the masses to vote a certain way. Let the law be applicable uniformly everywhere, and let every Kenyan be the same in the eyes of the law. We will sort this country. But as long as we prefer this stealing and deny this stealing, we support this stealing and appreciate this other stealing, no. The same law should apply to everyone equally. And so, like there is a requirement for people to declare their wealth before they assume public office. Did you see how our CSS, their wealth just swelled? 2 years in office, their money multiplied, their net worth increased. Does the Kenyan government mine money? When you become a CS, you suddenly jump from 400 million to 600 million in 2 years. Hey, what is this in the government that you get in, you get the money? Kenyans, tell me, is it that Kenyan government generates money for its CSs, or working as a CS places you in a better place where money just flows? Make me understand. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate as we keep going. Let me see. Kenya is more religious than Kenya. I don't know what that means. Kenya is more religious than Kenya. Let us make us understand that Kenya is more religious than China. So what's your opinion? Like I said, religion is not a problem. Religion is like money. Religion, I've said that religion is like money, okay? Money takes on the character of the person who has the money. Give the money to an upright person, he will multiply uprightness with his money. Take the same money and give to a corrupt person, he will increase in corruption with the same money. So to me, it is not a matter of which religion is where. If we are indeed serious about making right things right and dealing with our country the way we ought to deal with our country, then it won't make any difference. It won't make any difference. If we dealt with corruption as it is required, no religion will come and say you are persecuting our people. No right religion will support corruption. That's what I'm saying. So anybody saying religion is what is enhancing and propelling corruption, I don't think so. It is people who are abusing religion. They are corrupt from the word go. They get into the church already corrupt and they corrupt the church. There is a video somebody sent me today of a Presbyterian cleric man almost, breaking down on the pulpit and regretting supporting William Ruto and prophesying that William Ruto was God's choice. And now he says it was not the voice of God that they followed, because God was speaking through Uhuru Kenyatta, but they were too deaf to listen to the voice of God through Uhuru Kenyatta, and they followed a strange voice that has landed them into problems. Now, I found that very fascinating, that this man is a man of God, is a preacher of a very serious, mainstream church, but now he's coming 2 years later to say whatever they said was the will of God was not the will of God. Whatever they said is the choice of God was not the choice of God. Why didn't they see from the word go that William Ruto is a scam? His getting into power is a scam. He cannot run the country the way he ought to run the country, the way the constitution wants it. It was written all over. The evidence was everywhere. But how did the religious people get carried away? Because they got corrupted with the money. So, like money, religion takes on the character of the person practicing it. And so, to me, the problem is not religion. The problem is our corruption, our systems that are corrupt and that funds and supports and fuels corruption at every opportunity. And like I said, if you can corrupt elections and get away with it, what else will you not get away with? Tell me, what else will you not get away with? If nobody's punished for rigging elections, nobody's punished for stealing election, nobody's punished for playing with figures. I want you to now. Maybe some of you get angry, but I want us to think as Kenyans. Okay, where is Chebukati? Okay, hasn't Chebukati been rewarded? The wife was appointed into government. Is he not enjoying his wherever holiday? Okay, I know there are some videos going around claiming that he's sick and things like that, but some of them, I think they're just bloggers looking for views. But what I want you to see here is that Chebukati and his incompetence bungled 2 elections, 3 to say the least. But what happened? I understand he was rewarded with a hotel in the coast. If this country will recover, corruption needs to be bad everywhere and in every form. Failure to that, let's forget it. Failure to that, let's forget it. Well, I appreciate everybody. Let's keep going. Thank you so much. Nani huyu? Ebu nione link ya kuingia studio. Muingie. Kama tuingii basi tutajipanga. Mimi nitasema ya kwangu, nikimaliza naondoka. Lakini kwangu mimi, corruption has to be fought. Not just to be fought, but to be seen, to be fought by all that are engaged in the same. Let me just get this understood. Well, the link to use to get in the studio is available. I don't know where Kina Jakindube are and the rest of the team. It is 3 minutes after 1 a.m. East African time. I believe we will do better. Let's get more people to join. 90 people, 70 Sound Candy Talk, 19 Sound Candy Talk live, and then 1 person on Facebook. Let's get more people to join. Thank you, those joining on TikTok. Please, let's have likes, the tapping of the screen. Let's get more likes, please, on the video so that we can get everything running. Please, let's ensure that that is done. And so, emphasizing on the issue of corruption in our country, as long as the government is corrupt and the government is doing corruption, that government cannot fight corruption. It is that clear. As long as the government is corrupt and the government corrupts itself into power, that government cannot fight corruption. They say you send a thief to catch a thief. That philosophy of sending a thief to catch a thief doesn't sit well with me, because if two thieves meet, they will steal together. And so it will not be safeguarding public resources. It will be, how do we eat together without, being caught? Yeah, you've seen movies of, prisoners helping each other to escape from prison. And so send a thief to catch a thief? No. Send a detective to catch a thief. A straightforward, upright, integrous person. He'll be able to deliver for you the thief, because he's a sound and not twisted detective. What is your opinion about all this? Let's engage. Justin, how are you?
I'm good. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I didn't even know mtu anaweza join his side. That is the chosen few.
No, it's open to public. Who says it's chosen few?
Now, me, I think I'll be very, very, very controversial, because mi venye kutoka nizaliwe mpaka saa hii, I think kuna kitu naangalianga progress, unaona kama will we ever reach to that point that we don't want corruption. And then that's why I was telling you, look around the world, the countries that zimeweza kufight corruption, what have they done? Hii yetu tunapiga long term, long cut, tunakatia msichana, tunapiga inside, umwambie tu unamtaka. Is the same thing I'm saying. Hii corruption unapiga kona, na tunajua tu kitu ya kustop corruption ni nini. That's what I want us to engage on. Number two, where I want to disagree with you, the church is the one that harbors corruption, by the way, and I can prove it.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's a place where you allow everyone, the thieves, the corrupt, and you want them to feel safe. You cannot be targeted in corruption when in church. So which is a place that is giving them the warmth? Isn't it the church?
You want the church to be selective on who goes to church and who doesn't, or who? What do you expect? I mean, what are you suggesting?
My point is, I think the people who are doing the corruption people are doing corruption. They're not from Uganda. Maybe nowadays they might come from Uganda, but I'm saying, don't we know them? So can you demonstrate to me how the church can be used to stop corruption, yet they are the one who welcomes them and give them the warm, and they mix them? Can you imagine sitting down? Some of these prayers are useless. You are praying for a better country, and the people who are causing the country to be bad are the ones sitting with you there next to your seat. Don't you find that intriguing? Hapo inanisumbua kichwa kidogo.
No, the dilemma I have with the church is that majority of what we call church is not even church according to the Bible. I've said that the greatest hindrance to the preaching of the gospel of Christ is the Christianization of the world, where people accept a part of Christianity but not the whole of it. So the whole of Christianity is demanding uprightness, it's demanding righteousness, it's demanding fairness, it's demanding justice. That's the whole essence, what God has required of us. But we have now the people who have just carved a part of Christianity that is convenient for them. They bear a Christian name, but they don't have the Christian essence. But they are all received and accepted as Christians. In my opinion, because of that mix and match, we have every manner of people within the church setting. But the church, in my opinion, can only help in the fight against corruption by conversion, not by even arrest or denial. Conversion, when somebody converts into serious Christian practice, of course, it will not condone corruption. But the church can help into ensuring that they don't partake into corruption. That is, the government officials that are corrupt, when they come to corrupt the church and we readily receive them, that's where I say we become accomplices of that particular corruption. But on the other hand, we would not be safe to say that it's Christianity that has brought corruption or Christianity is the one that cultivating corruption. It is our natural nature. We are all, according to the Bible, we are all prone to sin. We are all conceived and carried in sin. So an opportunity to do wrong, we gravitate towards it than the opportunity to do right. And so if we mix all these things and call them one, we won't judge rightly. But kwangu mimi, the fight for corruption will take more than just the government forces. Every one of us should be involved.
Now, Bernard, I let us talk of data. Now, I think when you come into this topic, ulikuwa umefanya some data. Can we check on the least corrupt countries in the world? What do they have in common?
You tell me, what do they have in common?
As in, okay.
Jakindube has been here calling in that aspect of religion, okay? Especially the least Christianized.
Yes, that is true. I wanted you to go there without feelings. Hapa tuko kuongea. I want you to see, I want you to check the most corrupt countries and the least corrupt countries. Toa tu your data hapo, your shit. Because there is no feelings hapa. Tuata tuangalie tu. Angalie the list of the most corrupt countries. What do they have in common? Have time, let us check. The most corrupt countries in the world and the least corrupt countries in the world. We have Denmark, Finland, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, Sweden. What do they have in common? Are those countries, do they even have churches? Are the people there? What do they have in common? And then let us go to the most corrupt countries in the world. Let the data speak for itself.
So according to the data,
yes,
the main cause of rampant corruption is Christianity.
Yes, and I told you how I can prove, because when you're calling these people and to come and you're giving them a safe space, unajua tuseme mwizi amekimbizwa mahali na unamwambia come, this is where you can get a safe space. Instead, let me tell you, what I believe in is taking responsibility for your actions. That is what I believe in, because hii mambo ya kupiga kona, that is what I'm telling you, there's no shortcut. Umeiba, take responsibility for your corruption, go to jail or you be killed. Hapo ndio mwisho. Hii ingine hapo kupatiana haba hapo katikati nimekataa. And I have another one. Let me just the most corrupt countries in the world. Hata I think tushafika hapo ama tujafika.
We are almost top. So we are now top in Africa, I think so.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you now. I think that is topic for another day. I think we will come to discuss. But at long last, you'll understand the least corrupt countries in the world. Like there's a time I was in JKIA. Sorry to say, I was working in JKIA, and then hapo terminal 2 these Chinese guys walikuwa wameshikwa hapa hill wakifanya hii cybercrime. I think it was 2016. And I remember because I was working there, hao watu waliekwa hapo for almost a whole day. Sasa tunashindwa, si hao watu wanakuwa deported. And you know China ilituma ndege from China. Si wataki waweke kwa ndege wapelekwe. China inatuma ndege inawakujia terminal 2. And because we stay there, those people nikiwa hiyo shift walikuwa natuambia wao wote wanaenda kuuliwa. Wote. And that is why wanatumiwa ndege ndio wasitumanie wa ndege ikuwe diverted wapate mahali ya kupotea, because I think that is the only cure. And that is why now you as a Kenyan, you are borrowing money from China because they do that. Why can't we do that?
Okay, thank you, Justin. As we continue to look on the same, I have no problem with the data and the provision, but I have reservation on how it is directly attached to Christianity. In terms of punishment, has the church picked anybody from prison for being wherever indicted for corruption na kanisa ikakuja ambia hawezi kufa? Sijui. So kwangu mimi utepetevu unatokana na law enforcers, na unajua si watu wa church, we cannot enforce the law including our preaching. Tukishamaliza sermon, wewe ufanye vile unataka, ukitaka kubali upone, ukatae uende. So ikifika kwa masuala ya kufuatilia watu policing, hiyo ni kazi ya watu wengine, sio sisi.
But Bernard, I have a question before that other person talks.
Yes.
That one is the major corruption. These other small corruption, like today here in Mebakasi, karibu tuchapane na polisi hapo akiwa limenisimamisha ati anaingia kwa gari yangu ataka hongo. But haya hao watu wanataka employment hongo nini? Where do you all meet?
Where do we all meet?
Yeah, what is the common ground that you can all meet and not talk about it? Where you pretend to be holy. Where now that corrupt, that I can go sit with that corrupt cop in the same seat and be silent.
When I Kishoi, you seem to have a problem with church, but si wote hata pia tunakutana ba. Tunakutana ba,
na huyo tutapigana vibaya sana.
Stadium, tunakutana golf club, wale wana make huko. So where we meet doesn't necessarily mean that we will be reprimanded if we are twisted in some way, although the topic can come up and be discussed. And that's how fight can go, be discussed. But when it comes to straightening out things, I think the law enforcement is the weakest link. And then, of course, we have a corrupt system. Even if you arrest people, you take them to police station. Like there's one old Nigerian movie called, is it Yellow Fever? Where there was this straightforward police officer who did not condone corruption, everything. So he would go out and arrest lawbreakers, wale wamevunja sheria wa usiku, brings them to the to the police cells. But when he comes in the morning, all of them have gone. Wameachiliwa na OCBD. Wamelipa wakienda. So he discovered OCBD uses him to go on the street, collect the people, bring, then the people pay the OCBD and go. So he decided, I will retire here with nothing. So if this thing is like this, let me also be paying myself on the street.
Bernard, can you also do one more thing? Because there's one more very useless thing that we talk about. It's called an oath of office. What do you say an oath of office with?
Let's hold that one kwanza, tusikilize Kate alafu turudi hapo.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kate, how are you?
Hi, niko poa. Mko aje?
Kwa salama, karibu.
Mnaongelea juu ya nini? Corruption? Oh my God.
Corruption, Auditor General amesema tuna budgetia 160 billion for the past 3 years. Tukisema tunalipa external debt.
And then, is it paid?
That external debt cannot be traced, but we keep paying it.
Oh my God. So, oh my. And then even, sasa tuanzie wapo hata. Unajua saa ingine nikifikiria juu ya nchi yetu nasikianga tu, yani nasikia tu, I don't know. What kind of leaders do we have? Unajua uanga nashangaa aje, like, most of those people have been visiting, they say they have been visiting here, like the US, wherever they go, all these places, right? Kwa nini mtu hawezi kupenda nchi yake ikuwe kama nchi zingine? Like, unajua tuseme kama watu kama governors, I mean, like when they are put in charge, that's not your money. Kwa nini imagine the taxpayers, what we go through. You can imagine all those poor Kenyans paying taxes and they are not getting even any service, and somebody is putting all that taxpayers' money in their pocket. What is all this? I really don't understand. I don't. And then tunapewa mtu wa anti-corruption is a pastor. So you think a pastor will, what do they even do? What is those bodies who I haven't even seen any of them take anybody to jail or something. So hii ni kama culture iko kwetu, I don't see anybody working on it, anybody doing anything, because it should start from the top. Me, I'm thinking if the president was serious enough, he want to fight corruption. Watu wote wako na yeye, they are all corrupt. It's really sad. Ukiwa nchi za nje alafu unaona venye wako na maendeleo and how they do their things, they have a system that works. So when are we ever going to have a system that works for us? You know, it's so sad when you think about it. When you are far away from home, it's really, really sad. Kama hapa we pay taxes, na unaona taxi yako ukilipa, kusema ukweli, barabara iko mpaka kwa nyumba, maji iko, stima, all these things are there. So you don't even feel bad when you are paying taxes. Lakini kwetu you paying taxes, na hata ukienda town hata kupata choo hata hauwezi. That's so sad. So for me, I don't know. Nobody is ever willing to fight to do anything. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody willing to do anything. They were willing to, they would have started already, but because they are part of that, so they won't do anything. Yeah. So they want us to remain poor all the time, paying taxes. It's a country where you have 10 billionaires and 100,000 poor people paying taxes, and yeah. So I don't see anybody doing anything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kate. That's why we need change. And
yeah, but who can bring change if all those people are educated? What to come akina Murkomen? So we expecting. That's what, the other day I told you I'm just so frustrated, because if there was a government that I was looking forward to and I had so many high hopes that it's gonna change, it's this one, but I think I was wrong. Yeah, I was very wrong. Yeah.
Exactly, and that is why my counsel would be, we should not even look for that someone, but we should prepare that someone. Hiring, you can hire whoever you want to hire to run your company, okay? But you cannot guarantee how they are going to behave after you have hired them.
Yeah, but I don't know. You know, I was thinking, because these are young people, you know, that government, it has some young people who have seen all these things, and who have been maybe probably looking for change if they get a chance, and I thought they would do that, but I haven't seen any of them doing it.
All right, just hold on. Let Justin respond. Justin,
Okay.
Bernard, oh, sorry, before you go to the oath, I think there's this thing that I think I saw that thing in 2012, that saying that says, be the change that you want to see in the world. Na hiyo kitu haijainitoka mpaka wa leo. And that, so if that thing gets into your head, you will understand whatever you want to see in the world, be that change. So you cannot be, you don't want corruption, but you are tolerating a small corruption here and there. And number two, I asked, what is the purpose of an oath? Because I think an oath of office is the most useless thing, that you say in the name of God that you will solemnly serve the country. How let me that is why I asked you as a pastor or whatever. How does an oath affect someone?
An oath is as good as it is kept. If it is not kept, it doesn't serve its purpose.
Does it have any?
The purpose of I swear is you swear so that it compels you to follow that particular agreement. But if I just swear for the sake of swearing, like I swear to end the argument, okay, or I swear as a formality, it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not you remember the Embu meeting, where this bishop is being ushered into bishopry, then is made to answer serious questions, then is made to go through those rituals. Those rituals are meant to leave you impacted in a certain way that your thinking and your operation will be different from that time henceforth. But what we have turned our oath and into, especially in the country, is that it's just formality, okay? The lifting of the Constitution or the Bible or the sword, I don't think we are serious about it. It's just normal. It's like what we call certificate of good conduct.
But there's no serious consequence.
If Songo goes to DCI, gets certificate of good conduct. Sudi goes to DCI, gets certificate of good conduct. YT2, everybody can get, it's just a piece of paper. But the conduct of the person is not a piece of paper.
So you have agreed that an oath is I think is the most useless thing, hata sijui inastahili kutolewa, because when I was a kid, sorry to say, when you grow up, we get wise. I thought, now when you take an oath, ukijaribu kuiba pesa ama nini, you'll be sick, your family will get consequences from God, and I used to fear that oath. And when you grow up, you realize the data is showing that is the most useless. I thought there's supernatural powers that will now come and curse you when you don't do what you do. But I think the data is showing otherwise.
No, hiyo ndio sasa shida yenyu ubasomi, okay? Sisi tulikuwa tunaambiwa hivyo, tunaamini na tunaendelea. Na dunia yetu ilikuwa mzuri. Lakini nyinyi watu mkiambiwa kitu mnaenda kuchunguza mpaka mnajua hakuna supernatural powers.
I swear, sorry to say, I was once in the military, and when you take that oath, when you are graduating in the military and you take that oath, that is the most serious thing. Yani your training yote umefanya is not complete without that oath. Anyway, as I was, by the way, that what you have said is we do research. We do research nowadays. We are not like our forefathers and our grandfather. That time I could give them the benefit of doubt that there was no that leeway of getting information. Right now we dig deep. That is why I'm telling you. I think if I knew you are coming to do this topic today, ningekuwa nimetoa kitabu kingine kako mbali huko kwa gari. I have done this topic. I have done a country by a country and trying to see why this country is less corrupt. Na huko hata wenye wako less corrupt, they even wanafunga mpaka jela zingine, they are no prisoners. Ni ukweli. So the whole point of nowadays, we have the full information. think it unaweza ongezea kidogo.
Yeah, thank you. And okay, like putting it in the perspective, I don't think the problem is the oath. The problem is our culture as a people, that we don't honor our promises. If we are promise keepers and we have taken an oath, we are going to be true to the people of Kenya, you're going to be true to the constitution, you're going to be true to yourself and to your God, okay? And that becomes your bond. That oath will lead you into what is right. But our culture that we have cultivated along the way is that people can tell you anything, but leave that particular place and go do the opposite, and it doesn't affect them. And it's so bad that even in the church, that's what we do. Somebody promises he will be with you, he will protect you, and all that. Like no, I don't want to make too much information. No, but what happens is it is just an empty words. I have my friend Reverend Robinson. He is one of our followers here. He has written, he preached a sermon on YouTube on don't tell me I'll pray for you. I don't want that, because he said all the people who tell you I'll pray for you, they never.
By the way, if I trust me, Bernard, if I'm the one who brought that topic, ungekuwa umeniekelea makofi hapa.
I'm the one who edited that message. I know it. He said he's against I will pray for you.
I wrote that thing in my Facebook a while ago, because kuna kitu inasemekanga, the correct translation is the correct translation of I'll pray for you means I want the best for you, but I do not want to be personally involved in it. Trust me, na hiyo kitu shauliza watu, when somebody say I'll pray for you, do they actually go and pray? To be honest, almost 100%. Wakitoka hapo washasahau.
Now, very few will do that, and I'm saying very few. I'm talking of 0.0001. because they really, and that's why we encourage people to have circles around them. Not everybody claiming to, including now church people mtansame, including those people who say that send prayer request and send some money as your seed. It is just that money they are collecting. Your prayer request, nobody reads it.
Now, by the way, before we even go to the major corruption, now, Bernard, I wanted to ask you, is it the smaller corruption? When you go to a police station, you una bribe. When you're in the road traffic, you bribe. When you want a job, you bribe. Kwani ya watu wote wanaendanga wapi? Like, trust me, let me ask you a question. These things that we keep on saying, because me, I think they pray them. When you go now to pray for corruption, when you tell us to fast for corruption, what exactly are we expecting to come out of that? And are you not all the people meeting? I told you the only place we can meet, because I am telling you one thing. Ule polisi alikuwa jaribu kunimpe hongo leo. If we met in a club today, pigana vibaya sana. But if we met in a church, mumekwa anesthesia ya kunyamaza. When you have one person who is talking, call Bernard, and the rest cannot talk.
Bwana Justin, I love your line of thinking, but you know, I will say that church is a controlled environment. That should not go without saying. Controlled environment means kuna mtaratara ambao lazima ufuatwe. Na mojawapo ni one of my teachers alikuwa anasema church is not a museum of depicting saints. It is a hospital for everyone to come. Okay. Now my problem with the way we are doing church, especially today, is that we don't take responsibility. Responsibility means nimeletewa walevi, nimeletewa wakora, nimeletewa makahaba, nimeletewa hawa watu wote lazima niwabadilishe wakuwe watu wa straight dealing. Okay? Na hiyo itachukua muda, itachukua kujitolea, Unaona, kama vile Yesu alichukua taxi collectors, akachukua hao watu wote pamoja, akatembea nao for 3 years, na alipowaacha, what happened? They were all preachers and they went about doing what he was doing. So hiyo ndio jukumu kubwa la nini? La church, what we call discipleship, which is not taking place. So ukiuliza tunakutana wapi, hata mimi nasema kwamba hawa watu wote si ni washirika wetu. Kama hawajabadilika, shida ni sisi hatutawasaidia kubadilika. That's why we are saying Ruto ni mshirika wa kanisa. Okay? So is the IG, so is the deputy president. All our wako either na pastor ama father. Okay? Na wana-identify na kanisa. So kile wanachofanya, either kanisa limewatuma, okay? Ama wamefanya nini? Wamejifanya kuwa sehemu ya kanisa kama si sehemu na kanisa, but what they are doing is betraying what the church stands for. So for us to have a good society is where the church takes responsibility. For example, kama mimi nakaa eneo fulani, and I want to not just Christianize the environment. I want to positively affect that environment, like you said, become the change you want to see in the world. Then I make that as my maxim, and I want everybody around me to become that change they want to see in the world. You will notice that that environment will change. The thieves will drop the guns and begin to follow that pattern. And before you know it, you will see that the neighboring village takes over. Then like that, that's how Christianity is supposed to spread. It's not supposed to be a sprinkling over. It's supposed to be systematically changing one person at a time. So tumeacha to change one person at a time, want to change masses. You can't change masses.
But let's go, like, for example, Japan. I think the people in Japanese are very disciplined. They are not Christian. But if you have ever been to Japan, you realize some of our cultures that you are meant to drop are the one that was supposed to give us even more discipline than the Christianity. Like Japanese, so ni kweli. Japanese, I think, are the most disciplined.
Japan is number one in discipline because of their. I studied something about their child training.
Yes.
Child training. Mwana mleavyo ndivyo akuavyo. Okay. Meaning in Japan, children begin to take responsibility as early as their day one in life. Okay. At the moment they are going to go to school, wanajipelekanga. Hakuna maneno at house girl anapeleka. Gari likisimama kwa wapite, wanashukuru huyo mtu ndio wapite. Ni sheria ambayo inakuwa inculcated, build into that child as he grows. And then it is controlled and make sure that it happens in each and every institution of learning. When that is done, you are changing the whole of the nation positively. They don't now need John the Baptist to come and say, repent. Whatever we are repenting over there, they don't commit it.
Yes, okay? that is
but here we commit it, and then we go to be repented at the university level, where we have learned all manner of things. By the time we get into civil servants, kumeharibika. So those are two. I'm saying I'm citing two major institutions that can have very positive impact to our society. Is church, where everybody goes, and school. If those are given required resources, and serious people will change the society. But because of the games and all manner of infiltration of unserious people, the church is not top on that list. Where in actual fact it's supposed to be top, but it is not, because of compromised operations. So shule pia is another thing. So if you want to be like Japan, tusitarajie hao watu wa Gen Z na hao wengine waingie mtandao turudi class 1.
We change that.
They say from class 1 henceforth, this will be the culture. This is how we're going to handle and all that. And then we give ourselves 10 years.
But don't you think Africans before walikuwa na hizo cultures as a discipline? Because me, when I was Kikuyu before, I was indoctrinated to be and retrieved to be a Christian. In our culture Kikuyu, for example, kulikuwa na sheria venye unasalimia mtu mzee ukipatana naye, what you're supposed to do, all those good things. And I think if I follow that, I would be better off. You are not even allowed to pass another
I agree
person.
with you. At times I acknowledge myself what a traditionalist. I love tradition in as long as that tradition is not endangering anybody's life and that tradition is not violating anybody's conscience. Now, what I mean is the reason why even the colonial masters succeeded in colonizing us is when they asked us to drop our culture.
Yes, exactly.
So when we don't have an identity, we can't defend ourselves, we can't define ourselves, so we'll always be putting on somebody else. The Mama Selina phrase, huwezi chekea meno ya mwenyewe akikujia, hakuna vile utacheka tena. So a new culture that is not ours, then we begin to pretend to be. That's the genesis of hypocrisy, which is different from when we were growing up. Unajua mzee, ukikutana na mzee kama kwetu, like teenagers, you began to go out girlfriend, boyfriend. In our place, you don't, an elderly person, age of your father and all that, cannot see you with your girl holding hands or anything. And if you sight the mzee, you disappear, you melt in the bush. I mean, he must not catch you anywhere near there. So it was that way. That's how we grew up. We respect in such a way that you don't get at ease with elders. You are careful when you stand before elders. You choose the words. You answer carefully, understanding that they can read you through. Things like that. So we were built up to have that as a way of life, which when we got this Christianity approach, which gave us liberty, if anyone is in Christ Jesus is free.
It corrupted us because I think we contradict. If we had morals,
we dropped our morals in favor of what wanted to turn us into the enemies of each other.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Now that I wanted us to go now to the genesis of how now we can grow up instead of fighting corruption. That is why I wanted you, instead of fighting corruption, we should have already been made from the time we were born. We grow with uprightness. I attended the traditional ceremony in our Kikuyu culture and I realized wacha ina na hiyo oath kwetu kuna kitu ito muma. It's like an equivalent of an oath. And I'm telling you, nobody would ever take that thing. Yeah? If you're not serious of what you're saying. At your office, try getting that person to take like now I would, let me call it a Kikuyu oath, for example, because I want to say I'm a Kikuyu, I don't know other cultures. In that office, haezi jaribu kuiba. Ni ukweli.
Exactly. That's why if people begin to drop dead like Anania and Sapphira in the Bible, hakuna mtu ataiba. Ndio tunasema huyu Mungu ni kama ameanza kuchelewa kwa sababu watu wangendodoka wawili watatu, kila mtu ataachana na pesa ya public. Lakini sisi tunaiba tunaleta kanisani, inapokelewa na tunatembea tunaenda nyumbani. If we had Anania Sapphira episodes here and there, everybody would be careful. You wouldn't see how forceful. You see the way politicians have become forceful. Wanakuja church, they take over.
Yeah, by the way, there's that one pastor alikataa Moses Kuria aongee that. I mean, nilifurahi sana. Akakaa kuimba. Those are the serious people that we want. But let me ask you even a question. Why do we even allow these politicians? As a Kenyan, you have the one who have employed that person. Where do you allow your employee to come and talk on your behalf, akiwa hapo? Why do we give them that podium? Are they not our employees?
It's not even an issue of employees. It's courtesy. Okay. I know you are of age in terms of having experienced Moi era, Kibaki era, and the Uhuru era. If you are keen, you notice that it was Moi who started the infiltration of politicians in church.
Yes.
And then it was a foresight, a calculated approach that to tame these church people so that we can leave us alone.
Yes.
You don't speak to them outside. You go inside them and
Show
make them what you are. Okay? So the person who started the corrupting of the church on a higher scale, Jomo Kenyatta hakukuwa na hizi story. Although I was too young to know that, but the history books don't show that. At Jomo Kenyatta ameenda maombi mahali, mimi sijasikia hiyo. Alikuwa mtu wa oath na hiyo sala vingine. Now Moi ndio alianza hii story ya kuwa nani kuingia Qatar.
I think he was going to church almost daily. Kila news ikisoma.
It has to be reported. It has to be reported. But what I'm saying is that alikuwa na project in the future. The church constituency is going to be strong, and if it's ignored, it is not. It's going to be a strong force than even the opposition and all that against the ruling class. So he went inside to dilute it ahead of time, so that it will not be to pose as a challenge in terms of future leadership. And Kibaki, when he came in, one of the things that helped Kibaki is banning those harambes for public figures to do the harambes. It controlled corruption at a very high scale during Kibaki's time. The people that brought back Moism and church and harambes, it is Uhuru and Ruto. And the wisdom behind it was Ruto.
Of course.
That is why he has affected it.
There's a time I made that comment in this live before I knew how to join. Now, do you support the separation of church and state?
Completely.
According to what you have said.
Completely.
Finally.
A civilian state should remain civilian state.
Yes.
It is called secular state. It's supposed to remain secular state. Even if I become president, I don't become president and then I go and do pastoral at State House. State House is not pastoral. Pastoral utafanyia kanisani. Nikifika State House, I'm professional. Kazi yangu nitadili na dini msambwa, Waislamu, wasioamini, wanaoamini kidogo. All those people are the same in the eyes of the constitution called Kenya, the constitution of Kenya. So they should be treated according to the constitution, not according to the Quran or the Bible.
That is now, I think you're the first person I've ever met who is a Christian and I allow your kid, because I think when I sat down with some people before, because I think we will come up with a topic that will be itaonyesha the church and the Inquisition, and that is how the church the state infiltrated the church very early when the early Christianity. And that time, the church and state had to be separated, because if you go now to Italy and Spain during those Inquisition time, when the church and state were one thing, it was the most lethal thing at kuliko Hitler, because the church was being used now to maim and kill people who are walikuwa na question. Like the way you see we are talking here, we will not do that. Anyway, wacha tusikize huyu mwingine ameingia.
So thank you. Fraha, hali vipi?
Niko salama.
Karibu, karibu.
Our country is corrupt. Sometimes you just wonder because the experience right now, the reason the discussion is moving towards the church is because that is one of the places where we think we can reestablish our virtues, our morals, our upright bringing, because like we have said, in our culture, there were those values that we had, and you had to keep by them. If you don't, there was some form of punishment that you would experience in terms of the community maybe ostracizing you. You know, there was a form of punishment that would come, or even the curses, like Gishohi has said, that you anticipated that if you didn't toe the line, there was something evil or something bad would happen to you. With time, that has died down, and we have the church is Western, and it came and we embraced it. But you also feel that there's a sense in which we have been selective in how we have chosen to embrace some of these issues, because some of the most upright people are still, like, from the Western community. They're not corrupt. You experience some of the people, they come here, even in the church circles. The church is dying in the Western world. People are more secular than, we don't have missionaries the way we used to have. Lots of people who would come and teach us Christianity and the Bible. In fact, now you will find that they will even require some of us to go, because not very many people are going to church. But when you interact with them, when they come here and you interact with some of them, you realize that they're not corrupt. They can tip here and there, but they will not bribe. They can express their gratitude for something that you have done, and they will not bribe. So if indeed we want to fault the West in terms of some of the things that we have borrowed from them, then we shouldn't only borrow the bad character. We should also borrow some of those, good elements of no corruption. But you find that we will blame them, and yet we will find that in terms of corruption, countries like Denmark, I have some relatives in Denmark, and you find that, their tax is so well spent, so that you can't even complain about tax collection. But for us, your tax, if even a good percentage of our tax went towards what it was geared for, I don't think we would be in so much trouble. Yeah, we wouldn't be so badly placed. But a good percentage of that money goes into people's pockets. So it means service delivery is not there. Once service delivery is not there, and the economy is not doing very well, and the government is not delivering on what it is supposed to do to the people, so people are struggling here and there to find ways and means to put things in their pocket. And that's part of the reason, it's an excuse that people can use to be corrupt or to do things that are not in order. Because, Bernard, even if you wanted to do things the right way, you have a small shop, you want a license, and you go to the office which is supposed to give you the license, and somebody wants money, and the process is so bureaucratic, so that you say, oh, rather than spend all this time and all this money, let me just give somebody 5,000, and then I end up getting whatever it is that I wanted in terms of being able to establish my shop or my small business. So, and you have your vehicle on the road, and you want to earn there's the driver, there's the conductor. They want to make money so that they give it to maybe the owner of the vehicle at the end of the day. And, they have to consider the fuel, the wear and tear, and then the police. Like you have to budget for it, because there's no way you're going to run your PSV on the road unless you budget. So now you're forced to budget for corruption. Even when you have your own vehicle, you're traveling, everything is in order. A police stops you, and you want to be this upright citizen, but they want to take you to the police station for no reason at all. You think about the time, you think about where you're going, you think about, what you're supposed to achieve before the end of the day, and you look at everything and you're like, unajua may insist, it's like part with the 200 so that you continue with your journey for no wrong at all. So it is good that the Adani deal looks cancelled. Yesterday, I think people were asking, is it even cancelled for real? And it looks like it is indeed cancelled. We hope that all the deals that are surrounding Adani, we know Shisha, Shif, and Shah are also part of it. And on the face value, it looks like it's a good thing. Some of these Ruto things, they look like they are good. But when you go into the details, that's where, the devil is in the detail. That's where you find that that's why they are deals. They're not just agreements, or that's why they are deals. They have that connotation of negativity in terms of somebody was planning to gain, something out of it, make money out of some of these programs that are going on. Even the affordable housing, my brother is working on some of them that are on Road A, and if you look even at the structure of how they've been constructed, you see somebody who is very quick to get money, but you have not put a lot of thought on them. But you see, they're already coming up. 26 flats of 13 floors of bed sitters, and they're already done, because right now they're doing the wiring. So when did we even determine what kind of households were supposed to be set up there? So you see a very, very corrupt regime, and the person who is at the helm does not care. He goes to church, and one of the things, you remember ile wimbo ya moja ni mrefu na mwingine ni mfupi, kila kanisa ni lao, unaona? And that is already even corruption in itself. You must align yourself to a particular setup, because as much as they're all Christian, they differ in one way or the other on how they handle themselves. So you can identify with one and be open to maybe visit with others. But here is a case where I don't know for real where, the president worships. But every Sunday he's here, he's in Catholic, he's in Raw Israel, everywhere. And for me, even that is in itself, it looks corrupt. Because then aren't you supposed to affiliate yourself with a group, and then, okay, you can have the like-minded groups come together and share, but you have to have an identity. The moment you don't have an identity, it means he doesn't even have a pastor who can challenge him. He doesn't have somebody who can sit him down and say, yes, who can pastor him, because I believe everyone, regardless of their ranks, even if you are a president and you or even you're of a high rank in the military, and there's a military chaplain there, he can sit you down and tell you, this is right, this is wrong, I don't think you've done it the right way. So in your authority, you can decide to go against the advice, but there will be somebody who's checking you. Now here we have a case of somebody who does not answer to anybody. He's not answerable to anybody. So it's a challenge. I don't know what we can do, because the corruption, it seeps through to us. Even when you want to be so upright, you still end up, doing things wrong, because the society is, there's no checks and balances about corruption, almost in all sectors. Yes, Ben.
Okay. Thank you, Furaha. And that is the sad state of affairs. And in the normal operational working nations, you don't need them to want to be upright. Uprightness works for you. In Kenya, uprightness works against you. Okay, no, that's where the dilemma is. And even the police tell you, unakuja kutufundisha hapa kazi, basi gari yako itakaa hapa siku 5 mpaka ufanye nini? They are not stopping you because your vehicle is in default, your driver was in default. They are doing that because corruption is their way, and they want everybody to follow that corrupt way. Now, when corruption becomes enforceable, what happens to the right-dealing Kenyans? You have a choice, either to now follow the polluted law, which is corrupt law, or get out of business. And to them, they have no loss because it is not their matatu. Hii matatu ulichukua alone. If you don't make an income, you will not be able to pay. Wenye matatu watakujia, you will be the one at loss and things like that. So as people, we must not just, accept the system, but now come up with modalities on how do we address this conclusively. And that's why we must come up with a new culture of doing what must be done to get the country on trail. Where the country is, ni kama gari la moshi lilitoka kwa reli kitambo, inakimbia huko kwa msitu. Iliacha reli kitambo kabisa. And so it is just off. Now for it to get back on the railway line so that it follows the due process, it is now the uphill task. Because wale wanapenda kutembea kwa msitu hawataki kurudi kwa reli. Na wale wanataka reli hawana uwezo wa kuvuruta gari la moshi warudishe nini kwa reli. So we are torn between those two strange forces. Quickly before Justin comes in and we are beginning to close, it's 2 a.m. Let me just respond to due diligence. Say what happened to the fear of the Lord. At Bernard, does it not show that one elevates elevation of themselves above God? This just crossed my thought. I'm curious to hear your take. True, because in fact, the greatest challenge to godliness is the replacement of God. The greatest challenge to godliness is the replacement of God. When I judge things based on what God demands, okay, I will always judge them right because I'm not judging them for my own. But if I am an interested party, there is no way I can judge right. So what has happened is that we are systematically in our current world replacing God. God is now no longer an authority in our lives like we were trembling, okay? Ukisema uongo, Mungu atakasirika. Ama Mungu atakuua. Now I know those were extremes, wazazi wetu walitumia to threaten mpaka sasa tunaogopa Mungu ile ya kuwa na hofu, okay? But it is right, it is true that the people who are forthrightly, blatantly, without thinking twice, corrupting, doing corruption and forcing people into corruption, hao ndio Mungu. Hakuna Mungu zaidi yao. Yani kwao, in their mind, they are not answerable to anybody. They don't care who is higher than them. To them, they are final. Whatever they do is finalized. And that's part of our major problem, because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. When we say we are a nation that honors God, that honoring of God, where is it? Where is it when we swear that we will be true to the people of Kenya, then we open fire on the people of Kenya? How are you going to be true to the people of Kenya when you are opening fire and killing their children and killing their mothers, their fathers, and things like that? And so as a society, we have a lot of getting back to our senses to do, which means tuko mbali sana na mapenzi ya Mungu, tuseme tu kweli. Na hii yote iko cross-cutting in politics, in church, and in the society as a whole. Ni kama kila mtu ameachilia majukumu yake. Wazazi wanalaumu walimu, walimu wanalaumu wazazi, wanasiasa wanalaumu kanisa, kanisa linalaumu wanasiasa, na wananchi wanalaumu viongozi, viongozi wanalaumu wananchi. So we have become a blame society other than taking responsibility. Like if you give me a dilapidated school as a principal, okay? My number one job is not to state how this school is run down and it cannot be it cannot be restored. That I should take that as a challenge. The reason why God brought me in this school is because of this work. And before I leave here, this school must look like a school. Then you begin to deploy for wherever responsibility to a school. Where do we begin? Do we begin by restoring the classes, the learning system? Is it the parade responsibilities and things like that? You set up systems and systems begin to work. And before you know it, the school recovers. So our problem is, mtu anakuja kwa ofisi, badala afanye ile kazi ameletewa hapa, anaanza kucomplain hiyo ofisi iko na kazi. Kwani ulikuja kwa ofisi kufanya nini? Ulikuja tourism. So our corruption is haina measure. Is beyond measure. And that's why we all must, as a people, to badilike. And then, of course, ile punishment ya corruption tuinue kabisa. Now, I will still remind you, Kibaki, when you are mentioned, you stop working that day, you get half salary. Watu walianza kutembea vizuri. It became everybody became careful. Now, ilikuwa usikuwe mentioned. So corruption began to take care of itself. Lakini everybody is rewarded. Okay? Unasikia Murkomen ameshikwa sijui na 100 billion sijui wapi. Tena huyu mwingine amekamatwa sijui wapi 600 million akipeleka kwa bank. Huyu mwingine, then nothing happens to them. Wakirudi wanakaa kama zile kuku za kwetu. They eat and wipe their mouth. They eat and wipe their mouth. You never know they have eaten anything. So in the process, kunaendelea tu kuharibika. So Kenya is not a safe place for anybody at the moment with the current regime. I don't know, Justin, if you have something to add, please add, and then the rest we will keep. Pogon, nimekuona kama unakuja ututemee mate, tunaenda.
Now, kuna mtu amesema hapa, I think people have different opinion. I have a different opinion. Mnasema ati what happened to the fear of the road, nini. I think we have already deliberated that hizi vitu ukianza kuambia ukiwa mdogo hizi vitu unadanganywa, hapa kuna hii, kuna fear, ogopa. And then when you grow up, you realize that fear is no longer there. That is what is happening now. And that is why people are stealing in this country without any reparation. Because once they realize that fear, that consequence is no longer there, what happens? That's why me I that's why I agree with you. Mambo ya spirituality na kanisa zitoe hapo. Let people take, because I think the only last card we had on that is people not steal because they had that fear of the road. Sindio? And when now people realize the people when you are wanaiba pesa, they're even living longer, they're even doing better than those, then they have that right to do. So the only way of doing that is taking a bill in parliament to kuweka hii sheria ya kuua watu wenye wanaiba. Then we iba, ukuwe Mkristo, ukuwe Muislamu, ukuwe traditionalist, hiyo ni yako. But when you come to corruption, unajua ukiguza unajua that law of Newton's law of equality, whatever you push ndio inarudi. I think number 2 is sijui utakuwa unatupia topic tuna research before, because I had a lot of things to say today. What is tomorrow's topic, by the way?
Yeah, we'll deal with that. What you need to do is you join the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Huko debate huwa inaendelea, and then from what has gone down is part of what we discuss. And then like this cannot end. Our corruption has become a main thing, so we can continue with the discussion even tomorrow.
Yeah.
So get your notes, and then we'll be able to deal with that. But I wanted to say that from that perspective, the problem is not the fear of God or the lack of the fear of God, but the choice of the fear of God. Just like when you're on the road, you can choose to obey traffic rules and drive safely to where you're going. You can also choose to ignore the traffic rules and get into problems. So the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, is just a principle of your operation. I can either operate by fearing God and honoring God, and in the process deal right with everything I'm doing, or I can ignore. And when I ignore, just like you ignore the traffic rules and get into problems, the same thing. Majority of people who are robbing us were Christian Union leaders, were the people who preached to us in high school, were the evangelists, but they have given up on that path because they want to get whatever they want to get, and that path stands in their way. So what do? They drop that way because they want to do the other way. So the real problem is not the fear of God, but the people who choose to either abuse it or misuse it. And
what is the consequence?
Yes.
What is the consequence of that abusing? There is no consequence.
Of course, we are suffering the consequences.
But I'm saying, in basically on that person who is doing that, there is no consequence. Let us go with the data. No, Bernard, I want you tomorrow, come to me with a list of 100 corrupted people. Na uniambie huyu aliiba pesa na huyu aliiba pesa na huyu, na hii ndio ilimfanyikia. Come with that data tomorrow and I'll believe you.
Sawa, tutakuja nayo ile naweza. Then the consequences are not always the way you think.
Apana, that is not what is blinding, and that is why I'm against. That is why I'm against you, because you know that thing of
consequences come in various ways. Okay.
For example,
there is the aspect of the whatever. Our parents are the ones that ate sour grapes, but it's our teeth that was set on the edge. There are others where people end up, amassing too much wealth, but what is their end? Okay.
Does it matter?
It matters. If it's not offering a lesson, then we are either not learning. Okay. For example, the total man. How was the end of the total man? Was he total as he was total when he was still total?
But now I think, Bernard, that is where you're losing the data. By the time that person is suffering to the end, the person who has been affected directly by that corruption has suffered even more. So there's no direct relationship of that consequence. If today by that time policeman anakula hongo yako, by the time unazeeka umeshindwa kulipa loans sijui nini, by the time you're saying he is dying of cancer. Unajua there are people who I met another person who is saying that all these people who are up there stealing, they die of cancer. And I asked him, through the data, don't other poor people who have been affected also die of cancer? So what is the direct relation between that consequence of corruption? There is nothing. And now when I meet other people who come to lie to us that the consequence is in the afterlife, hapo sasa ndo wanajaribu kuweka uoga. These people don't care. They don't care at all about that afterlife. If they actually cared, that they knew that this is what they are doing, it will affect in the afterlife, they would not. So basically, there's zero consequence unless we take action. That is what I'm saying. Unless we...
Exactly. Okay, not there are zero consequences. There is the right now consequences, then there are future consequences. There is the consequences we see, other consequences we don't. But that's where now the law enforcement comes in. Like I was saying, if we just came up with the, now like for example, revive that Kibaki's approach to fighting corruption, and now instead of now have salary, we say no salary until you get cleared. Okay. The moment you are not, you have been prosecuted, you are mentioned in corruption, out of office, you only get office after you've cleared your name. Okay. And that time your family will have no salary, no income, no nothing. So the moment the consequences become dire, everybody will walk carefully. The reason why...
Bernard, you're forgetting one thing. You're forgetting that people keep on updating softwares.
Updating software in what sense?
By the time you are getting to that law, they already have a counter thing. For example, najua nikishikwa sitapewa salary, so unaiba mingi zaidi. By the time unashikwa.
No!
Unacheza na Wakenya wewe.
Justin, if I'm given that docket to preside over, see ati umeiba, the moment you are mentioned, all your accounts get frozen. Okay, exactly. That's number one. We are not investigating you when you are drawing money in and out of your account. It needs to, if we are not choking your air, you are breathing comfortable, then we are not doing anything. And the letter kwa office then. But if we make it life unbearable, that you would drink anything, you would buy anything today, but by tomorrow morning, you can't even afford a bottle of water. Kila mtu atakuwa mlokole, kila mtu atatembea sawa sawa. Lakini hii maneno ya kuwa soft, at did you see him steal? How do you know he stole? All that trying to, look for a leeway to defend corruption is our unmaking. So if we want to fight corruption, let's come full length about it. If not, let's legalize it, make it one of our arm in government, budget for it, supply it, so that even if they steal, Kenyans will still have what to eat.
Hiyo WhatsApp group utaniambia venye mtu anajoin kwanza hiyo kitu.
You drop hapa kwa private chat, nipatie namba yako ya WhatsApp, then I'll add you, send you the link, then you join. But okay. It's random, just you get different people chatting.
Okay.
So you private chat, not go public, except you want your number to go public. There is private chat on the side. If you drop your number, okay, I've seen it. It's here. Thank you. And then Fra, I have your number, so I will just send the link. You click on it and then join the group. Then from there, we will chat the way forward. But kazi kwetu, as far as our doing what? Ensuring that our fight against corruption is feasible. We can't pretend about it. We must just take the bull by the horns. But shida yetu, like there is something that Nani confessed to us. the tenure of Wabuhala at the anti-corruption. He said every time he will go to Uhuru and say every investigation we are making, it ends up on this doorstep, no matter what. The moment we pursue, this case ends up at the doorstep of your deputy. What do we do? And Uhuru will always say, take it easy. We'll deal with that later. We'll look into that. Until now, deputy became principal. So what will you do?
You just budget it anyway.
So we need to give it a different approach, but I don't think left in the hands of politicians, it is done. It will never be solved. We need to take it beyond political goodwill and all that issue. Na tuanze recovery programs. Recovery ile mtu ameiba kidogo analipa mingi. Ameiba kidogo analipa mingi. When that begins to happen, watu wataanza kukaa square. Kama nakujia mpaka shamba ile babu yako alikuajia because of your little corruption in Nairobi, then you will know that it is dangerous to get corrupt.
But I think that thing has happened before. I don't know. I think si time ya Ruto, but I think time ya Uhuru, there's a person alifanywa hivyo. I think that was the most humiliating thing ever. He had even to drop his schools from kids from school and everything. But I think yenyewe corruption ikifanya fully hapa kusaili, I think they froze everything, as in kama uko umeweka pesa cash, you have to rely on your friends mpaka hiyo kesi iishe, na kabla iishe utakuwa your family, your kids are in school, you are eating, shopping, zero, gari zote zimebebwa. I think it makes sense.
So we need such, and that is why at the helm of anti-corruption, they never put there anybody serious. But they know that thing can bite and it's going to end up at their doorstep. So they make sure that the most underperforming person is the one made the headmaster there. So that's why I'm saying in Kenya, systems are meant to fail. None of those systems are meant to succeed. They are put properly, well scrutinized. Unajua vile huwa na research kuhakikisha kwamba ukienda kufanya hii kitu succeed. Wakenya wana research kuhakikisha kwamba hii kitu ita succeed. Na kama kuna element of any success, they will remove that element in good time so that it fails, and then they will have an excuse. That excusing corruption is what we must run away from. And then, of course, failure of systems. Well, guys, thank you so much. Furaha, unless unala kuongeza, naomba sasa tufungashe. But tutakutana kwa WhatsApp group baadaye.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think we are all agreed that, it needs diligence. It needs us to be brave also. And it has worked before. We have seen it in just the recent years when Kibaki was in charge. So it's something, it's possible. It's only that, like you have said, the systems are placed in such a way that, they are not meant to work the way they are supposed to work. And then as Gishoi also put it, as children grow up and they see that, the only way you can progress in life is if you're corrupt, because now these people who steal money, they're the ones who are living a good life. And the people who have chosen to live upright lives or morally, their moral compass is on point, these are the people who are suffering. They live, what you'd call poor lives, they don't have wealth. So that sets in our psyche, so that our young people, they also want to be MPs. They also want to, to have corrupt deals. They want the shortcuts, because that's the only way you get, successful. It's no longer at education is the key to success. Unasoma and you have all your degrees there, but somebody who hajasoma ameenda amepata kazi, and you're looking, you're wasting away. You see, it pushes somebody to want to do just, something bad as well. So that is where our country is right now. If more people, got ahead in terms of living right and getting the things into place, then it would seep down to the people over the generations that, you can do it right and get up there. But as long as corruption is thriving at the rate at which it is, then that's how the young people are coming up, and they see their peers who didn't do anything right thriving, and then them who kept on doing the right things are struggling. That also beats the sense in which somebody wants to do the right thing. But we can continue to push, because in the end, right will always win, even though it doesn't look like it's doing so. But in the end, it will always, it's always worth it to do the right thing.
All right, thank you. That only gives us the homework that we need to work, because we have a lot of convincing our young people that rightness works and rightness rewards, because the preaching that has gone out there is that if you want to deal right, you're going to have limited options, limited resources, and you're going to be disadvantaged. How do we get that otherwise line of thinking established in the hearts and in the minds of our people? We will have to work double to get that corrected. In the Gishoi, as we close, the another further ground for corruption is our politics. When politics pays more than science, it pays more than art, it pays more than innovation. What do you expect?
It pays more than everything else.
Yes.
Umenipata off guard. Tomorrow I'll come here with the points and data. Nimeiweka hivi country to country, corruption case by corruption case, and everything. And I think we need to borrow from there. By the way, what does it take to bring that law of now unaliving people, killing people, who have, nowadays after the death penalty ilitolewa?
Well, we don't even need to kill the people. The moment corruption is not paying, that is, uliiba na hiyo pesa imefanya umepoteza kila kitu. The moment it reaches there, you don't have to kill the person. He's already dead. Uliiba 2 million na tunakujia your 100 million estate.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But anyway, I think we need, but the only thing we don't have is time. We need to act fast. By this time tutaongea hivi in the next 50 years, 100 years, hatutakuwa, watoto wetu ndio hawa. They talk.
That's why we have to put systems at work. One place that we should not ignore, which I see most of us are doing, is our schools. Our schooling is dead. I have a phrase I use that I went to school when school was still school. Right now, what's going on is not schooling. It's just concentration camps where we are gathering people, children. So as Kwekwa Street, it is just that. And so we, as people who are pro-change, we must influence on how school is run and how education is being given. That sector is dead as far as the securing of the future is concerned. Anybody can buy any paper anywhere and become a graduate without learning anywhere. Yesterday, we were playing about Jaramogi Oginga University. People who are put on their names because they paid to graduate on the graduation day. So we have a lot to do in terms of impacting positive change. And so as we expose these things and of course propose the right way, we need also to come up with either lobby groups or a way of ensuring that there are policies that back up these decisions to help the situation, because where we are seated ni kubaya, and what we have as a president, he's a sellout in the sense that yeye anauza tu kila kitu. Ameuza agriculture saa hii, sasa ati mbegu tunaenda kununua sijui wapi, tuwezi panda yetu. Naoni kama hiyo ni shida analeta. Ye bora amepocket pesa. So yes, now somebody sent me that now there's an industry for selling of body parts. There's a law. Hiyo ilipitishwa lini? Mtaniambia.
Mimi nakwambia watu wasaili we should format everything.
I think we should get back that hangman. Because
I'm telling you, we need it. We need that because
that hangman needs to come back. Mtu moja amezeshwe tu kitu mara moja, kila mtu atalainika. But all in all, let's keep the conversation going. Hiyo kesho tutaanza saa 5 usiku masaa ya Afrika Mashariki. Tujiandae na tuje mapema na tuambiane pia tuwai mapema, kwa sababu tukiwa na muda mzuri wa kuongea tunaongea mpaka tumalize. Lakini tukienda mbio inakuwa shida. And then whatever information you have that is credible, let's share it. It's good that we help people who are seeking information, because we have a lot of our viewers who are just here for information. Some don't come to the screen, they don't the best they do is say they are listening, nothing more. But they are key people who are influencing different decisions in different places. So let's not withhold the right information that could help save our country. Otherwise, thank you so much, Furaha. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, watu wa comments. Asante sana, mmekuwa wa nguvu sana. Lakini mmeogopa screen. But all in all, build up courage. Kujeni tuongee masuala haya mpaka tutawin, kama tutajitolea kikamilifu kutekeleza wajibu wetu. Otherwise, let's meet tutakapokutana. God bless you.
Sisi vile sio wote ambao
watch, share, like, subscribe.